Welcome to our YouTube channel, where wisdom meets inspiration. In this channel, we share valuable insights to help you become the best version of yourself. Our content is designed to uplift your spirit and enrich your life. Make sure to subscribe to our channel to stay connected with this incredible journey. Click the subscribe button below.
We are going to discuss some deep insights into emotional intelligence and especially how it relates with Bhakti Yoga. Because this is something we should understand perfectly, that without very, very balanced, committed emotional life, what is called purity of emotion, one cannot actually enter into Bhakti sadhana. Bhakti is not out of fear. Bhakti is not out of a sense of exchange. Bhakti is for the love of God. And that is why our emotional life, especially our emotional intelligence, should be very high if real Bhakti sadhana is going to yield fruit. So, we will discuss some deep insights into emotional intelligence in this video. The next video will be on Bhakti sadhana and emotional intelligence. Now, what exactly is an emotion? Emotion is nothing but a thought with feeling. When the feeling is a huge part of that thought, it becomes a formidable force, as it were. And that is when we call it emotion. Now, when we have this kind of a emotion within us, we should know we have tremendous energy, because emotion itself involves a lot of energy, vital energy, the energy within us. So, as long as there is feeling with any thought, you will see it will remain etched in your memory. Thus, emotion and memory are closely related. In whatever incident of our life, there has been a lot of emotional upsurge. That incident will remain etched in our memories. For the simple reason, that much of energy was invested. Emotion is another name for energy, you can say. Vital energy, invested into a thought with deep feeling, that is an emotion. Now, when we come to emotional intelligence, we are actually referring to the stability of our emotional life. Emotional intelligence today in modern psychology involves 5 important aspects. One is what is called self-awareness, self-regulation, which means self-control, empathy, motivation, and social skills. So, emotional intelligence includes all these. If all these are there in optimal measure, a lot of inner balance, stability, and emotional intelligence is said to be there. Now, fundamentally, emotional intelligence is about our ability to handle our emotions and our emotional life, so that the emotion works for us and not against us. There are many times you see the emotions of people, if you see how many people are, the emotion is working against their very goals. They are wrongly angry for no reason. They constantly justify themselves. You make a general statement, they will take it personally and get angry. They don't mind false criticisms. They see, all this removes emotional intelligence. It shows very poor intelligence. If there is real emotional intelligence, there is a stability and balance in the inner emotional life to such an extent, you can build a huge superstructure of a great life on high emotional intelligence. So remember, emotional intelligence is more important than what we today call IQ. The EQ is more important. Emotional quotient is more important than the intelligence quotient, because emotion is the real intelligence. If you are able to handle it correctly, keep it stable, and heighten it where it is to be heightened, ennoble it, convert it into a transforming something in your life, and not something that destroys your life and the feelings and lives of others around you. So for this, emotional intelligence has to be studied. I told you the 5 factors of emotional intelligence as it is identified today. I will add one more factor to that. In addition to self-awareness, self-regulation, empathy, motivation, and social skills, we can add responsibility, which is actually your responsibility. Your ability to put forth the right responses to any situation as a result of the balance within you. This is also a sign of emotional intelligence. So first of all is, you see, self-awareness. An emotionally mature adult has deep self-awareness. He is deeply conscious within himself. So every response, every word he speaks is very, very balanced and up to the point, never exaggerated, never overflowing. This kind of a behavior is a sign of immaturity actually. If there is no balance and proportion in our conduct, in our speech, then it is a sign of emotional distress. It's a sign of anxiety. So the very first sign of emotional intelligence is deep inner self-awareness, which gives you inner balance. You are comfortable within yourself most of all. And so you can relate very, very positively with others. You are able to listen consistently to what others are saying. You are able to defend them, not blame or criticize. Blaming and criticism is a sign of poor emotional intelligence. You will see undeveloped people will be constantly indulging in that because they find some kind of a sadistic satisfaction in that. But an emotionally mature adult will be focused on the positive. Will try to find a positive solution in everything. Will see to it that the person in front of him becomes completely comfortable. Then only the heart opens up to the truth of any situation. When a person is emotionally mature, this naturally happens. So self-aware, being intensely self-aware inwardly is one of the first signs of emotional maturity. The second sign is self-regulation, which means our own emotions must be well regulated within ourselves. Our own thoughts are well regulated. We have an inner, you can say, compass, which helps us decide how to face the outer situation. If this inner compass is lacking, you are completely at the mercy of the emotions of the person in front of you, which is a very tragic situation. If this inner compass is lacking, you are at the mercy of the emotion of the person in front of you. What does this mean? That person is angry, you will also get angry. That person is imbalanced, you will also get imbalanced. So this should not happen. That person speaks wildly, you will also speak wildly. So there's no point. This is the starting point of war actually. If we have to take mature decisions and lead a really worthy life, self-regulation should be first there, which means I am aware of my thought, I am aware of my emotion, and they are calm, balanced, placid, and they give me the right decision at the right time. So self-control, self-regulation are very, very, fundamental to emotional intelligence. If you actually see the lives of great people, very, very emotionally balanced they were. And that is why the right decisions came out. If you just see the incidents of the Ramayana, today, we are looking deeply into emotional intelligence from the lens of the Ramayana, which is an epic which taught us our cultural values for centuries. What stability of character you find there. What inner, you can say, divinity of emotion. How the entire character has been transformed just by the bhav. So you can learn very valuable lessons in emotional intelligence from the Ramayana. It is a manual for emotional intelligence actually. Cultivation of emotional intelligence. So you will see there, Sri Ram, even in the scene of the battle with Ravan, he is calm. He is unagitated. He knows his purpose. He knows how to handle the person in front of him. So this state of mind is very important. You can see it clearly in any workplace. If this state of mind is not there, if an attitude, a benign attitude of acceptance of the person in front of you is not there, no clear decision can be made. Let us be very sure of this. So this is the second important point for emotional intelligence, self-regulation. Self-regulatory mechanism is spontaneous. It happens from within. If there is sufficient yoga in life, if there is sufficient sadhana in life, automatically your mind will remain calm in any situation and give you the right solution. And without the practice of any form of yoga, emotions can be very, very, turbulent. And that is when we have self-regulatory issues. So we must take care of this, invest some time into this. The third important point in emotional intelligence is empathy. Am I able to put myself in the shoes of another and feel exactly what he is feeling? If I'm able to do that, then I have deep inner empathy. So it is not lip sympathy. Empathy means actually feeling what the person has gone through. And this ability will only come if there is deep emotional intelligence. If you see the life of Holy Mother Sri Sarada Devi, best example of this, she empathized with everyone. Before the person in front of her could share her tears, tears would be rolling down mother's cheeks. And how did she do this? She could do this by the simple reason her heart felt deeply for everyone. This empathy, it's a divine quality. Karuna, compassion and empathy. It's a divine quality. Unless you put yourself into the shoes of another, you cannot understand that mind. If you cannot understand that mind, how can you take the right decision regarding that person? So, empathy is the third important sign of emotional intelligence. One who can do this, can empathize deeply, becomes automatically reliable, emotionally mature. The fourth important aspect of emotional intelligence is ability to self-motivate oneself, which means an emotionally mature person does not suffer from negativities and depression, over-anxiety, negative states of mind. No, he motivates himself by himself because the mind is in such a fresh, you can say in a condition, it is bubbling with joy, radiating awareness because he is deeply self-aware. So he doesn't go into negative states by himself. So he is never a problem to himself. This is a very important self-motivation, ability to keep yourself motivated by yourself on an everyday basis in however trying the external situation may be is very, very important, extremely important. If you see the lives of great people, you will see this is there like a default state. They are, right from the time they get up in the morning, they have a fresh mind. They look at life with a blank slate, not with a biased, conditioned state. And as a result, they remain motivated throughout life. See, in the Ramayana itself, if you see the life of Mother Sita, even in those very horrorsome situation where she was in Ashokvatika of Lanka and facing this threat from Ravan all the time, even in that situation, how balanced and self-controlled and deeply motivated by herself she was. This shows great inner strength and high emotional intelligence, ability to keep calm in any situation, to handle things correctly, not to, put out outbursts and create negative situations for oneself. This ability to stay calm is a sign of very high emotional intelligence. So that's why I told you Ramayana is the best manual for us to study emotional intelligence. I don't know why we have not seen our epics like this. They teach us the highest values in life. And these values get ingrained into us once we are able to adore these characters who express these high values, spontaneously as part of their lives. So self-motivation is a very huge thing in emotional maturity. Another thing is social skills, ability to relate with each person of any age in the right manner. If there is inner purity, one will be a master at social skills, which means you are able to relate rightly with any person in any situation. Whatever is in front of you is perfectly, you are able to handle it for the simple reason within yourself you are well settled. And your emotions are extremely sensitive and mature as a result to each person what he deserves. You are able to do that. This is social skills. Social skills is not just about communication skills. Communication is just a very small part of social skills. Your very body speaks what your tongue cannot speak. So the entire system If it is in a yogic state, if it is in an inner balanced state, it will radiate the right, you can say tanmatras, or the right feelings, the right thoughts, and the person in front of you will be will get aligned to your thought process, will work for you. Every leader has this great capacity. He is able to radiate the right energy, and as a result, he gets the right results. And at the same time, you see the life of people who have flopped in this. They radiate the wrong energy, even in a very positive situation. And that is why things don't work for them. So social skills is about non-verbal communication also, verbal and non-verbal. Verbal communication also is a sign of very high emotional intelligence. If our speech is positive, you can know very well things will work for you. If our speech is constantly negative, because we are fixed on certain ideas which we can't change, and we have deep biases within us, then we will compromise on emotional intelligence. So verbal and non-verbal communication and social skills are signs of very high emotional intelligence. And then what I said, our responsibility in any situation, how much of energy do you invest into it, and how do you react or respond to it? Many people actually react, they don't respond. So this should stop. Responsibility is our responsibility. If the inner life is balanced, there will be proportionate response to any situation. It will be in correct proportion. As a result, works get done easily. So this is very important in leadership. In fact, if you see the life of Sri Ram or even Krishna, you will see exactly what was required in the situation has come out. So this comes only through inner balance. And this goes a long way in ensuring your success in life. If there is this level of emotional maturity, you will be successful anywhere. Otherwise, many factors have to work to make you successful. This is the fact. And that also, not that you will always be successful. If emotions are properly trained and controlled, and if our inner life is balanced, you can be sure things will be working for you. This is the law of attraction. You will draw the right things to yourself. We will draw positivity to ourselves. We will draw the right people. We will draw what is really required for fulfillment in our lives. Naturally, this will happen if you are radiating the right energy. That's the most important thing. So this is how emotional intelligence works. Now, we will discuss a little about the conditioning of emotions. You know very well the meaning of conditioning, so I won't go into that. It's a huge psychological concept. Once it was understood, we understood that the brain, mind, all these mechanisms which we have, the instruments through which we function, are deeply conditioned. That means we already have a huge neural network with grooves and engrams of very specific things. Now, to be able to make that conditioning positive and constantly, as a result, radiate positive energy, this is the glory of emotional intelligence. How do we do that? By constantly circulating positivity in our lives. I have given out the laws of the miracle of positive thinking. What you repeatedly think, you will actually become. What you repeatedly feel, you will actually experience. And what you repeatedly imagine, you will actually create. So take care of these three things: thought, feeling, imagination. That this is actually conditioning the human mind. Right positive thinking constantly, positive assertions, and being able to see the positivity in others is sign of very high emotional intelligence. This will groove the neural patterns in your brain in such a way you will radiate positivity. As a result, you will draw positivity to yourself. This is actually scientifically proved. And if our thinking is fundamentally negative, due to some stray incidents of life, if you have made your thinking negative, first thing to do before you enter the workplace is to work on your thinking. Vivekananda used to say this: if someday you do not feel good about yourself, you feel like crying, then go and lock yourself up in your room, he said. Don't come out and infect others with your negativities. First, correct your state of mind, condition yourself positively, and then come out. And then you will see everything works for you. Life is one beautiful whole where we are all connected. The energy you radiate will come back to you. So if I have radiated positive energy, you can be sure only positivity will come into my life. This is the law. Knowing this, we should know how to condition our emotions. And that is when it becomes important to take a good look at our inner life. Make sure it is not merely impulsive and compulsive. Impulsive means given only to impulse. I feel like reacting to something. At present, I will show that reaction. I feel fear, I will show a reaction. I feel danger, I will show a reaction. I feel anger or hatred or jealousy, I will show reaction. This is an impulsive life. So make sure that nothing in our behavior works in this manner. Everything should pass through the filter of conscious thought. Give any situation in life enough conscious thought and you will be able to take the right decision. There will be absolutely no reaction in our behavior. At the most, there will be response, that also a positive response. So moving away from these impulses is very important for the conscious emotional intelligence to work. Bhakti and all that is not possible at all if our life is primarily impulsive. Impulses belong to the reptilian part of the brain. So these constant impulses of insecurity, danger, over-anxiety, hatred, jealousy can arise. But if we have trained and conditioned our mind in enough positivity, this can be totally suppressed and got rid of. So in such a mind, impulses do not rule. The conscious thought process rules. And then where the conscious thought process takes you will be beyond conscious thought, into the superconscious realm. So this is how bhakti begins. As long as we are given to impulses and the circuitry born of that, which is the compulsive life, where you are being compelled, as it were, inwardly by your own mind to give in to negativities, this should stop. For this to stop, the most important thing is very good habits of personal life. Good habits of personal life, which means regulated hours of waking, eating, working, resting, a certain self-regulation in life, and good positive thoughts all the time in the mind. If we can condition ourselves, later on I'll be dwelling in a big way on the habits of sattvic living, good living. If we can do this on a regular basis, very good habits of our personal life and good thinking through exposures to good books, very high literature, spiritual life, spiritual practices. Through all this, if we can regulate these few things, you will see the impulsive, compulsive life will dissolve by itself. It will be a conscious life where you encounter each moment fresh, as it is, as God has given it to us. Life is such a precious gift. It is meant for a complete involvement and to see the bliss of God in each moment. Instead of that, we carry a huge negative memory and mess up situations. So this complete renewal of inner life is required for higher emotional intelligence to function. There are two actually very important modern psychological concepts which I would like to share here. One is that the impulsive life only puts you into the hedonic treadmill. This hedonic treadmill is a very important concept to understand, because how exactly our negative conditioning and emotion leads us to a hell of an experience, this is explained by hedonic treadmill. Hedonism is nothing but pleasure theory, and treadmill is, well, you know what a treadmill is. It gives you exercise but doesn't take you anywhere. So the nature of a negative emotion is like that. It will give you, it will keep you sort of engaged, but it won't take you anywhere. And the nature of negative emotion or just this kind of gross pleasure orientation is, it is unsatisfying ultimately, it is transient, for a very short time. It is due to a dopamine release mechanism that it is happening. It will give you very short experience and it will make you addicted to that experience. So actually, even this social media, they are considered dopamine-driven feedback loops through which you are conditioned in such a way, unless you have a like, unless people talk good of you, you don't feel happy. Why should it be like that? Real emotional intelligence makes you independent, which means you are not driven. By yourself, you are self-sufficient, self-sustained. So take a good look at what the hedonic treadmill experience is telling you. Any sensate experience has this limitation. What will it do? First of all, it is very transient, so it is unsatisfying. Secondly, it is addictive in nature. It addicts you so strongly that you can't get out of the loop after some time. So that is why this is to be avoided. In our culture, always they told us there are 6 enemies of man. Shadripu, Kama, Krodha, Mada, Lobha, Moha, Matsarya. Kam, lust. Krodh, anger. Mada, pride. Lobha, greed. Kama, Krodha, Mada, Lobha, Moha. Moha is delusion, deep attachment to something. And Matsarya is jealousy. So these are the 6 enemies of man. See that you don't make any one of these primary in your life. This gradually destroys human life. So they were telling us the same thing, that if you give in to these forms of negativity, you enter the hedonic treadmill and finally it results in nothing, a waste of life, a waste of energies and final unfulfillment. Another thing which modern psychology throws light upon is incentive salience, which means once you have got into this groove of a particular conditioning, even if you know that is not your goal, you will have to keep moving in that direction. Yes, it becomes your priority without conscious acceptance. Because you are programmed now, because of the conditioning, emotional conditioning, you are programmed to move in that direction. You see people who give in to drinks and drugs. At some point in their lives, they realize that no more I want to do this because this is harming me in the long run, but they can't stop. They can't immediately stop. The momentum goes on for a long time and then only they can put some kind of a stop to it. So this incentive salience is a dangerous thing finally. If you cannot get out of your addictions, then it's a very small life. Life becomes very meaningless after some time. So all these are the results of not working on our inner life. Take care of this. This is the idea. That is why in yoga psychology, they have very saving ideas, very beautiful ideas, which I will give you here. The most important thing which was insisted upon for the practice of yoga was the importance of sanskars. We have a video on that, the importance of sanskars. You can look into that. But here I will give you the most important aspects of it. A sanskar is nothing but a mental impression created either by your action or your thought. What is a sanskar? It's a mental, deep-rooted impression created by your actions and thoughts. So when you repeat vrittis, conscious thoughts, and perform actions, you actually generate sanskars. So these are the only 2 inlets for sanskars. So now if you are able to, if you want to generate the right good sattvic types of sanskars, obviously our actions and our thoughts should be of that type, consciously done, carefully done, so that that kind of sanskar is formed. Remember, this repetition of vritti, the mental modification, consciously again and again will result in the sanskar. Repetition of right actions will result in the sanskar. And these sanskars, where do they lodge themselves? In the subconscious mind. Consciously you created vrittis, you repeated them, they became sanskars, went to the subconscious. After some time, they bubble forth again as memories. They don't just remain in the subconscious. They will again blossom forth as memories in your mind. That is when we call them smriti. So you see, conscious thought, subconscious mental impression and memory are deeply connected. It's one cycle. In fact, it is called a cycle in the Patanjali Yoga Sutras. It is called Vritti Sanskara Yoga Chakra. So understanding this is a very important part of understanding our mental life. So I must take care of my subconscious impressions. I don't put in the wrong impressions, because then my memories will be negative. And a large part of your thought life is memory. If memories are negative, life becomes negative. So take care of this entire mechanism. This is what they will tell us.
Become Swami Vivekananda's messenger. Share the video with 3 of your friends.